Good morning. All right, so today's lesson, y'all, is what is a Roth IRA? So these are things that we should have learned when we were in high school, I believe. Because when we're in high school, we get a job. And a lot of times jobs have a 401k. And after you've worked there for so long, they give you the option to put money in there. And you want to make the right decision early, because the earlier you start, the more money you have. And the more money you have and accumulate and save, the more prosperous the whole country is. So you think about it. Suppose, I know I started working when I was 16. And suppose you are 16 years old and you start working and you do it the right way, right? So with all that being said, let's go back to our lesson. What is a Roth IRA? Well, the first thing you have to ask is, what is an IRA, right? So an IRA, the I stands for individual, the R stands for retirement, and the A can be one or two things. It can be an account or it can be an annuity. One more time. The IRA stands for individual retirement account or individual retirement annuity. So individual means you own it. The government has a portion of it. In exchange for a tax write-off, the government allows you to put money in there, and at the end of the year, you can file your income in a lower tax bracket. So for example, if you make $50,000 a year and you put $5,000 for the year in an IRA, then you can file that you made $45,000. So that means you wrote off the $5,000. You got me? All right. So in exchange for a tax write-off, the government allows you to control, if it's your own IRA, you can control how the money's being invested, but you're not paying taxes on a certain portion of it. Y'all with me? So that's an individual retirement account. So the individual retirement, that means you have to wait until you're 59 and a half years old before you can touch the money without an early out penalty. So anytime before then, you're going to get a 10% extra penalty on top of your state and on top of your federal. So the R is for retirement. It's not designed for your kids' college. It's not designed to pay off your mama's funeral. It is not designed to buy a house. Those monies are supposed to be separated into some other kind of account. I know that because we depend on our job, 401k, 403b, and it takes money directly out of our check, if we're not saving on our own, when an emergency comes, we have to tap into that IRA or 401k, and we end up owing the IRS because that's money you've never paid taxes on. Think about that. So that means you have to borrow money from the IRS. Raise your hand if you like to owe the IRS at a variable interest rate, which means they can pick how much they charge you and how much they want you to pay them back. And they're in complete control of your life. It's a predator loan. So my biggest advice to you is do not borrow money from your IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, anything with a 4 in front of it, don't borrow money from it, because you'll be borrowing money that you should have paid the IRS and creating a tax liability loan. Sweet Jesus. Y'all picking up what I'm laying down? All right, so back to the IRA. Individual retirement. The A stands for an account or an annuity. What's the difference between the two? Simply a growth account where your money, you're buying stocks. You can buy the S&P 500 or whatever stocks your company has. You're actually a shareholder. I want you to understand that, okay? So you are buying stocks. You own a piece of the rock. You picking up what I'm laying down? So an account is either a brokerage account or it's an annuity. What is an annuity? An annuity is taking a lump sum of money and turning it into a stream of income. To annuitize or annuitization means turning a lump sum of money into a stream of income. Hopefully it's a lifetime stream of income. So you got so we just broke down 4 words. Individual. Individual is just you, right? R, which is retirement. Don't touch the money till you're 59 and a half or you're going to owe a lot of taxes. A is for annuity, which is a brokerage account or buying stocks, okay? If it's a life insurance company, it can be an annuity, but hopefully it's a fixed annuity, which means it has a guaranteed interest rate. Fixed indexed annuity, and the index is the stocks. So if you have a fixed interest rate, that means you're not going to lose a dime. The life insurance company guarantees you an interest rate so that no matter what, the life insurance company protects your money from stock market losses. You with me? So if it has a fixed interest rate, that's what's going to happen. And if it's indexing at the same time, now you have the best of both worlds. You have a guarantee on your principal and you have stock market gains. 2 of what you want. Guaranteed that your principal is never lost and get the stock market gains. Have your cake and eat it too. You with me? Okay. So far we've broken down all the words in an IRA. Okay. So now this third part is, what is a Roth? ROTH. Write that down. Senator Roth created a solution to the taxes and the economy back in the 1970s. He made a proposal before the IRS and before Congress saying, listen, let's get people to pay their taxes before they put money in their retirement, and then they can grow their money and harvest all that money out tax-free. Here's the catch. At age 59 and a half, right? So they created the Roth in the 1970s. And they put it in place as an option for all retirement plans. So what does that mean? That means you pay your taxes before you put it in. So you're not writing that portion off at the end of the year. But guess what? All the interest that you earn, all your matching money from the employers, those of you who get fixed index annuities, the life insurance company pays additional bonus money. We have life insurance companies that will pay you anywhere between 5% and 30% bonuses on rollovers. So just imagine all your interest, all your matching money, all your growth, all of your principal, all growing in that account, tax-free. That's crazy pants. There's a billionaire, I can't think of his name. His last name begins with a T. I can see his face. There was a report on Forbes magazine that he pulled out $5 billion from his Roth, from his individual retirement account that is a Roth. Now here's the catch to a Roth though. You can only put in so much money. So right now, the limit on a Roth is $8,000 a year. So the government capped it because they didn't want you to get all this tax-free money and then not have to pay taxes on it. So every year, the limit for a Roth goes up by about $1,000. Y'all with me? So this year, the limit is $8,000. Next year, the limit's going to be $9,000. And the trend is that every single year, the limit goes up. If you're 50, the limit is $8,000. If you're under 50, the limit this year is $7,000. It's either $7,000 or $7,500. I can't remember. So, and the other limit is that if you make over $150,000 a year, you can't participate in a Roth at all. Okay, so you are completely out of the benefits of having a Roth. So that puts limits on it, right? Well, there's a solution. What's the solution, Shell? The solution is something called the rich man's Roth. This was invented by E.F. Hutton in the early 1980s for rich people. E.F. Hutton took a look at what A.L. Williams was doing in the life insurance industry. Imagine two men, A.L. Williams and E.F. Hutton. A.L. Williams came up with a concept called buy term and invest the difference. And what is that, Richelle? That is when you buy a temporary life insurance policy really cheap and the price goes up after so much time. And then the difference of what you would have paid for a whole life policy, you put it in the stock market. Now, I want you to think about the downfalls of this like E.F. Hutton thought about it. That will work if you are financially literate and financially savvy on the stock market. That won't work if you are not financially savvy on the stock market. The idea A.L. Williams had was to self-insure using the stock market. So many holes to that. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose your money. If you're not paying broker fees to save your money, you're going to lose your money. If you don't have enough where the broker house will pay attention to you and make sure your money's taken care of, you're going to lose your money. And then at the end of your term life insurance time, you're going to be older. Your health is going to be less than it was when you were younger. And your life insurance premiums are going to go to God knows what. God knows what. I've seen life insurance premiums for folks 60 years old, $100,000 term policy went up to $400 a month, all the way up to as much as $1,600 a month because the person had a lot of health challenges. You with me on that? So there's a downfall to the buy term and invest the difference. So E.F. Hutton said, you know what? We're going to create something for rich people called buy permanent life insurance and invest the difference in a fixed indexed Roth IRA. It is buy permanent life insurance and invest the difference in a Roth IRA that mirrors the stock market and takes no losses. Now, if you didn't understand what I said, rewind this video and go back through the financial terms that I gave you in the beginning, okay? So E.F. Hutton created something called an index universal life insurance policy in the early 80s, and it had no limits on the Roth. So rich people were buying the minimum life insurance and stuffing millions of dollars in this policy. I mean, they were going banana nuts, stuffing money inside of this life insurance policy. They were taking advantage of the 7702A tax code that makes life insurance tax-free. And this particular policy has a Roth IRA with no limits inside of it. It doesn't matter your age. They were even bypassing some of the health challenges by minimizing the death benefit and, doing all kinds of things. And the IRS said, nope, we're not going to let you get away with that. And they began to create limits on how much you can put into the index universal life according to how much death benefit you buy. So now you've got to buy a certain amount of death benefit in order to qualify for a huge Roth. So for example, I'm going to give you all an example and then I got to go. I got to run out the door. Okay. So for example, my index universal life, my first one, I bought a $600,000 death benefit, right? And the death benefit has living benefits. So if I was diagnosed with cancer, I had a heart attack or a stroke, or if I need long-term care. That $600,000 is going to pay out around $700,000 to as little as $100,000. I'll file a claim against it and just liquidate the death benefit. So the death benefit isn't waiting for me just to die. The death benefit is there if a real tragic health situation happened to me. You with me? Okay, so I bought this $600,000 IUL back when I was 50. I'm 56. I began to tie to myself, just shoving money inside of it, right? I looked back just 2 weeks ago. My Roth has the ability to take $132,000 per year. So I can literally shove $132,000 inside of my IUL and turn it into a tax-free retirement plan. Crazy pants. I created the rich woman's Roth, right? So $132,000 per year every single year. Like right now, I can go on my app and drop $15,000 in there. Just last week, I dropped a chunk of money in there, used it, borrowed money from the life insurance company, paid off my car, and now I'm paying it back in 2 weeks. I'll do it again, and I'll go buy a Mercedes, and my money is tax-free because I'm leveraging loans. My money is safe from the government IRS challenges. As an entrepreneur, every year you owe taxes at the end of the year. And if you don't pay them, the IRS comes into your bank account, and what do? Snatch the money out of your bank account to pay the difference of your taxes. See, as an entrepreneur, you're in a whole different other tax category. But they can't touch the money in your IUL. They can't touch the money that's at life insurance companies. So now my money is protected from creditors or anybody who would come after me, and one day I wake up and my bank account is frozen, and they're like, wait a minute, what happened to the money? Oh, the IRS came. Oh, it was some kind of loan or something, and your money's gone. I don't have to worry about that because my money is sitting safely inside of my IUL. It creates a trust, a private trust for your money. So sweet. I hope y'all picking this up. So listen, I've got to go. I'm on my way to D.C. I got to get my birth certificate so I can get my real ID, and I got to drive to D.C. to get it. But listen, get yourself a rich man's Roth. You need to be in good health, though. This is where you get some life insurance protection with living benefits, and the side pocket has this nice, fat, juicy Roth IRA. Look it up. The rich man's Roth. Get it from me because our company knows how to reduce the cost of the death benefit by taking commission cuts. A lot of jokers out here in this industry not going to take a commission cut to give you a death benefit that doesn't cost a lot of money. And that's what it is we do. We do it in exchange for referrals, okay? That's the secret sauce, all right? So, listen, get yourself a rich man's Roth while you can. Make sure you're in decent health. If you got high blood, diabetes, those things are regular. If you're a little bit overweight, that's okay. You can't have any pre-existing critical or chronic illnesses, cancer, stroke, stuff like that. You got to get yourself a regular, plain old vanilla whole life policy. But if you're in standard health, you might have a little bit of health challenges. We can get you an index universal life. Okay, so that is my lesson for today on the Roth. What is a Roth? I hope you enjoyed it. Listen, financial illiteracy is the biggest cause of poverty. Just like in slavery times, slaves were kept from reading, so it is with finances. Financial terms were also segregated out of certain communities. And I'm not talking just black folk. I'm talking about minorities, women, everybody of color, people of certain economic levels in the mainstream. Everybody that needed to be separated, who was conditioned to work on some type of plantation system. That means that A large percent of the population can't read finances. So I want to encourage you to do what Frederick Douglass would encourage you to do. Read and learn financial terms. Don't go walking around financially illiterate. When you do, your subconscious mind is going to open up and it is going to make you wealthier. Love and blessings. All right, so this is my makeup mirror. I find that the makeup mirror time, I'm so busy running that this is my best time to come on live and teach. So I hope that you're enjoying this, and I will see you right along with me at the top. Rhema, R-H-E-M-A, financial coaching @gmail.com. Send me an email and we'll book a time, or go over to our website at Rhema, R-H-E-M-A, financial solutions with an S.net. And you can book a phone call with me there, or you can book a Zoom call. Don't book a Zoom call until we talk on the phone. All right? Love and blessings. Have a wonderful day. Bye.